Hey y'all, good morning. So I wanted to make this video to kind of update y'all on how we've been doing since my hospital stay and what we got up to on our YouTube break. We took about a 2-week break and it was really what I needed. I missed y'all, but we mainly just rested. We were able to go to Orlando overnight to see my dad, which was great. We had a quick trip to Disney, so yeah. And I'm getting back to myself. When I come home from a hospital stay, the transition can be quite difficult for me, just physically and emotionally, but this rebound, I feel like I made much quicker than past hospital stays, and I kind of attribute that to how well I was doing before my surgery. If y'all recall, I'd just been making great progress and I felt stable and strong. And I'm not back there yet, but I plan to be. I'm working hard. So my recovery from the surgeries itself has been a little tricky. Removing this port was fine. I didn't really have any issues here. This is my new port, and you may notice it looks a little different. So before I had a barred power port, and this is still power injectable, meaning I can get contrast through it, but it's a smart port, which is kind of a newer port that I guess they're using nowadays. I like it better than my last port because it has a wider surface and where you can insert the needle. You'll also notice that it's orange. So I developed an allergy to my safe adhesive, which is the clear Tegaderm I used to use. I also developed an allergy to Chloroprep, was the skin cleaner I used to use. It was so frustrating because it doesn't just itch, it burns, and it's always bothering me. So my nurse, love Danielle, she figured out that I should now use betadine, which is why this is orange. It's a different type of skin cleaner. And this is called IV 3000. That's the dressing I use now. And I'm not reacting to it, which is great. I used to not be able to use IV 3000 and I could only use the clear IV Tegaderm. But now I can't use the IV Tegaderm and I can use the IV 3000. So sometimes your body can develop allergies to your skin preps and adhesives, and you kind of just have to do trial and error to find what works for you. I'm just so thankful that we found what works for me, even if it is orange. As far as the fistula goes, my arm looks the same. You can see a small surgical scar, and you can definitely feel a very strong pulse there, but it's not ready to use, so we need to give it a few more weeks for it to grow and get stronger. And we're calling it a fistula because it's very similar to one, but it's not specifically a fistula because fistulas have other criteria to it, like certain flow rates. All my surgeon did was make it so this vein here is stronger and bigger. So with peripheral IVs, which typically don't work on me because my veins are not very good, we can use peripheral IVs here because it's bigger and stronger. We'll be able to stick it easily and it won't blow. So I can go back to using peripheral IVs, and you know, I'm hoping to not use my port as much, rely more on this. And as I get better and we get more symptom control, which is always the goal, I won't have to be accessed as much, and just it's a better option for me. Recovery from the surgeries has been a bit tricky. Kind of did a lot to this side of my body, the port and the fistula, and my shoulder and arm became very tight, and I actually had quite a bit of pain here. Doesn't hurt anymore, thankfully. You know, with time things got better, but my arm was so stiff. Before it was stuck like this, I could not straighten it anymore. Now I can straighten it much more, but not completely. However, it's getting better. I've actually started physical therapy where the PT comes to my home. I had my first session this week, and he said 4 to 5 weeks and it should be back to normal. So it's just very stiff. I have exercises to do to fix it and to also get some strength back because it's hard for me to bend my arm, but it's not permanent. It'll be fixed. The biggest struggle with this though is I cannot propel or steer myself well in my wheelchair, even with a smart drive. This arm doesn't work well, I can't do it. Also, I can't change my own port needle because this arm's not working well. I need 2 hands working well to access my own port. So my nurse Danielle is coming to do it for me once a week until this is remedied. I trust her completely. She does a great job accessing my port. And yeah, it's kind of annoying, but it'll be fixed eventually. I needed to put my sweater on. It's chilly in Florida. We have a cold front, so it's in the 50s and 60s. And then Harlow wanted to come on the couch. So that's my surgical update for y'all, nothing too crazy. I did have a severe mast cell flare after surgery, which is really what kept me in the hospital for 2 weeks. And my mast cell disease is still not as good as it was. Definitely gotten better since my hospital stay. But, you know, the few weeks before my surgery, I was doing so well, and probably the best I'd done in a long while. And I'm determined to get back there. It's just gonna take time, and I gotta be patient with my body. And I'm still having issues with my mast cell disease. However, I'm due for a Xolair shot very soon, and I think that's definitely going to help. As far as my other health conditions, my dysautonomia has been up and down. However, with the cooler days, it's definitely been better because the heat is kind of a trigger for me. But I just gotta be diligent with doing my infusions. I think that backtracking physically definitely has a negative effect on my POTS. I was able to go back to the gym twice since getting discharged. However, it was technically only once because the first time I went, I didn't feel well enough to do anything. But I have backtracked from how well I was doing at the gym prior to my surgery, so that's another thing I just gotta work at and get back to. And pain-wise, honestly, my pain hasn't gotten any better. It's getting quite tricky, but I'm working with my pain management doctor on that. And as far as my GI symptoms, when I first got home from the hospital, I could not eat at all for like 3 or 4 days. It was strange. I was extremely nauseous and just didn't feel well at all, but now I'm doing well again, not really needing to run feeds all that often and eating by mouth and maintaining weight. And yeah, so some setbacks for sure, but overall things are moving in the right direction. There we go. Not quite back to myself yet, but I'm getting there, and I'm just thankful for where I am now because things were quite difficult just a few weeks ago. So that is my update for y'all. I hope y'all were well while we were away. Harlow is, of course, snugly and as Harlow as ever. So with that, I will say goodbye, and thanks for joining us on our adventure.